Mike. Welcome to the Meetup Spot, sir.
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
That's okay. Thanks. Thank you. And also, but before we start, I have a question though. Do you sometimes have sore throat or cough before you do a speech or a presentation?
Do I? Yeah. So it happens sometimes, but not any more than I have a sore throat or cough in any given day.
And do at times have like a quick fixes for it?
A quick fix, usually it would be hot water with lemon in
Oh,
it.
wow. Hot water with lemon. Got it. All right, here we go. Let's start.
Well,
Mike. Oh,
can you hear me okay, or is it I could actually put in my earbuds and that might, unless the
I can hear
audio
you
is
fine.
really okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. Okay, here we go. All right, Mike. Tell me about yourself and your growing up story.
Growing up story and myself, I live now here in Austin, Texas. I grew up in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was, the state, if you have international listeners, that is the American state, then above Texas, just north of Texas. So I grew up there. My parents were school teachers, were educators. And I really had a bit of an idyllic childhood. My parents had the summers off, and so we would go camping all throughout North America, and it was fun. My grandparents lived down the road, and it was not a wealthy growing up, but it was full of wonderful experiences. So that was it. I really gained a love for education that way and teaching, which now I get to do as an economist and also someone who helps people present their ideas and get their ideas out into the world. But then, yeah, grew up, then went to college and met the woman I was going to marry and have a whole bunch of kids with, and then moved, started career about that time.
Nice, nice. Camping across North America, though. What so how what like what, so what's like camping throughout North America?
That was very fun, and I think a lot of it was the people I was with. Because my mom and dad, like I said, had the summers off, we'd be able to take walks along streams and sit in nature, skip rocks and talk about different parts of nature and human nature. So it's good. It's in the summertime, it's a lot cooler up closer to the Canadian border and up into Canada. So beautiful mountains and streams. I would recommend. It's an amazing place, especially British Columbia.
Oh, you go to BC, but you also sometimes go to Alberta or just BC.
We did go. I haven't been to Alberta in a while. One of our favorite camping spots as a family was up into Banff and that area, and have more recently, now these days I go to BC about every year and go camping. I
Nice,
say
nice.
camping, go hiking. We don't do as
Hiking.
much camping these days.
Nice. So you mentioned economist though. How'd you become an economist?
Mainly, it was a lot of reading. That was not my primary area of study in college, but as early as probably junior high school, middle school, depending on where you are in the world, I I became really fascinated by numbers and the way the economy moved. Early on, I read several classical economists, and they talked about economics is the what is the most fair, the best distribution of scarce resources among all of our fellow humans. And that subject fascinated me. So I read it all through middle school, high school, and then in college, I took as many courses as I could in economics without being a business economics major of all things. So just I really to me it is the quantification of mass psychology. How does this mass of humans make decisions, and how do you spread out scarce resources among a lot of individuals? So
Economics by reading. Fascinating. Okay. Like Mike, why do you do what you do?
the I would say these days I do what I do because I was the beneficiary of people helping me do what I wanted to do. And so I do a lot as the economist, working economist. We have a large financial planning firm and help a lot of people get to live the way they want to live and hopefully get to financial independence. That is a beautiful feeling. And now, part of that is helping people communicate ideas that they want to on the road to that. So I get to tell stories. It's fun to watch people laugh. It's fun to watch people lean in from the stage. And then it's extremely fun to watch someone who who says, I don't feel like I can communicate my ideas that way. Help them learn and grow that skill because great communication is a skill. It is a skill set. We talk about, well, people are naturally talented. Those are just skills that we don't remember where we learned them from. We learned years ago that we don't remember where we learned them from. But skill, the only thing that gets in the way of our growing our skill set is our own doubts, our own fears that play in there. So helping people get past that, that's a whole lot of fun. I have to tell you a quick story there. There is one of my favorite people in the world came into our Austin Toastmaster club, and she got up in front of the audience the very first time, and we have a pretty big club, and she just you could barely hear her. She could barely speak. She couldn't look at the audience. Well, now she's been in that club almost 10 years, and now she does stand-up comedy. She
Whoa.
to be able and I was in the club when she came in, and to be able to watch her be so nervous in front of a group that she could barely get words out, to now she makes us laugh and using all of her, she has a very flat affect, but she uses that in her comedy to make herself even more funny. So that is a wonderful thing to be a part of. I'd say that's why I do what I do, all those.
Oh, nice. Toastmasters to a stand-up comedy. Do you sometimes go to her shows?
Sorry?
Do you sometimes go to her shows?
We've done. Yeah, I have seen her do a show. She's done little mini shows at our Toastmaster group, and then I've seen her do an open mic before. So yes.
Nice, nice. And what are the funniest jokes you've heard from her?
She has this bit where she talks about her crazy ex-boyfriends, and as she continues to date, then with every boyfriend, then she pulls out pieces where she talks about and she embellishes, she does, but some of the things that she's been asked, she's been told, it's just you can't make this stuff up, and it's really funny.
Ah, nice, nice. Okay. Mike, what was going through your mind when you mind the first time you said your first speech in your Toastmasters club?
That was a long time ago. The very first speech in my Toastmasters club, what was going through my mind was really focusing on how was I coming across, I guess. That would be it. Do they like me? Do they like the way I'm presenting this? Or am I speaking loud enough? That and then I got lost in the story I was telling. So I'd say those were the first things.
Oof. And how did you grow from that?
Yeah, there was a really great mentor that I had in that original Toastmaster club, and I would have been in my mid 20s when I first joined that club. This guy, he was probably in his 60s. He'd been a professional speaker for 20, 30 years. He had started a lot of Toastmasters clubs. He'd gone to the the Toastmaster finals on the final stage 3 times at that point and had presented. And he was really good and honest with me. He gave me an evaluation one time as I came in and I got comfortable whenever I was presenting. And he got up and he told me that, a beginning speaker focuses on themselves, a good speaker focuses on the audience or on the message. That a good speaker focuses on the message, but a really great speaker focuses on the audience, and it is communication. And he challenged me publicly. I was telling everybody else's stories, and he said, Mike, respectfully, if you don't crack your chest open and show me what's inside in a speech, you're really wasting my time.
Oof.
And that was a difficult and challenging message to hear. Now he started at the beginning by saying, Mike, you have the potential to be one of the best speakers that I've ever heard. And he closed again by saying, you've got potential to be a really great speaker, but you're still focusing on the wrong things. You're getting in your own way. So it was tough love. He cared more about my long-term future than he cared about making me feel good in the moment. And I so appreciate now his doing that.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. In your winning speech, you talked about how you asked Miss Montgomery if you could fix the projector. What made you think you could fix that projector at first?
I didn't think I could fix it.
Really?
I just
Wow.
wanted to I just wanted to give it a try. And that's where that message in that speech comes from, is that, the victory, we focus so much in this world. And I've seen this. I played sports since I was very young. I've seen it in the sports world. I've seen it in the business world and the investing world. I've seen it in startups. I go and I look at. I was just last week at 2 full days of startup pitch competitions to investors, and everybody. One of the things that gets in our way as humans, it gets in the way of innovation. It gets in the way of our really doing great things in the world, is we're not going to try something if we don't think we can win. We're not even going to give it a shot if we don't see a clear pathway to a success. And that's problematic because when you look at great advancements around the world, so many times they it became something they didn't know it could become. Or people just tried things. They would just go out there. They liked the journey and they would go out and they would try. That's why you see so many non-traditional founders and winners, because those who are so hyper competitive and they really want to win, then they're either doing it just like everybody else does and they get lost in the noise, or they will, or if they can't see a pathway through, they won't even begin. So that's why I love that message and that story was actually I was just curious. Can I, what with this projector isn't working anyway? Essentially, what I was asking was, can I just take it apart and put it back together again? Because at least then I could see how a projector worked. And and then when I put it back together, then it still didn't work. But that it was super interesting to it was an interesting problem to try to solve.
Okay, that was really risky though. But your parents really didn't didn't pay for it though, right?
Say again?
Your parents really didn't pay for it though.
They did not pay for it.
Wow.
No,
Oh
no, the
well.
school. No, it the at the end of the day, the librarian just said, "No, we're not gonna make your she was we're not gonna make your parents. She was pay for it. She was frustrated or angry in the minute and said that would happen, but at the end of the day. And who knows? I think in what happened in the background was the teacher, Mrs. Montgomery, had gone to the librarian and said, "Hey, we want to encourage curiosity and we want to encourage, our children to experiment and to try things and I think and quite honestly, I think the librarian was probably just having a bad day with something that had nothing to do with me." So yeah, there's broader context to that story that you cannot fit into a 7-minute speech.
Ah, got it. Got it. Um, why start a financial services business almost 30 years ago?
Yeah, the I think at the time I came out of college, I was married, and we discovered we were going to have a baby, and so I had to figure out some way to eat. So I had to do something. And I've always done better working for myself rather than working for someone else because then I can take the risk. I can value the risk and I can determine that. There have been times where I've gone over and worked for somebody else, but I've always been looking for a pathway to work for myself. But it is interesting that I did something then that I followed some advice that I didn't hear till much later. And what I mean by that is if you follow Scott Galloway at all, Scott Galloway is a business professor at NYU, and he gives a lot of advice to young people. And one of the things he says is follow your passion is some of the worst business advice out there. And I would agree. Follow your passion. I've seen it create debt for a lot of people, but Galloway says some really great advice is to follow your skill set. If there's something you're good at, then you begin doing that. You find that it's easier for you than it is for other people. And then you start getting positive affirmation from that. You see how it helps humanity and your passion then develops around that. And that's what happened with economics for me. I just got it. The first time I read an economics textbook, it read like a fictional novel for me. It was just so super interesting the way to measure all these decisions that humans tend to make. And so I needed here then just post college, I had a wife and a child on the way, and I started saying, well, I'm good at economics. How can I at least maybe make a bit of a living doing economics? And I turned around and financial planning had just begun to grow, and that just made all the sense in the world to me that if I could help someone do a financial plan, tell stories around that. And I did financial planning seminars, and that's how I found clients. So I started, I didn't obviously didn't know Scott Galloway or his advice at the time, but I started doing something that I was good at because I needed to, I had a coming family that I needed to feed.
Nice. Follow your skill.
And there
That
was a
is
definite
solid.
need, there was a definite need in humanity for advice like that. You know, I saw a lot of people that were making emotional decisions that hurt them financially. And so anyway, that's where it started.
Nice. Follow your skill set. That is really interesting. How did Toastmasters help you with your work?
How did it help me with my work?
Yes.
Yeah, the I would say really it was kind of the initial trying to build that financial services business that sent me into Toastmasters, and then it helped the other. So I when I was trying to start the financial planning firm, I was going to friends and I was practicing my pitch to them. And one of my good friends said I'd been going on for about 45 minutes, and he just went, "Hey, stop, stop, stop." He said, I think you have a pretty good product here, but he said you just go off on so many tangents. You've been talking now 45 minutes. You've been going way too long. You haven't stopped to ask me what I think. You've been just pitching, pitching. You've gone off on all these tangents. I don't know what your primary purpose is for what you're saying. And you say and so many times that all the filler words, right? That is distracting. So he said, I think you'd really benefit from being in a Toastmaster group. Just go for a little while. That was kind of the beginning part of it. And he and so from the very beginning, Toastmasters helped me watch my time. It helped me when I had an idea, develop a very quick outline in my head where I could be more clear with a definite purpose going through there. It helped me eliminate or minimize distracting filler words, and then it just helped me practice. I got to practice in storytelling and got to now I practice in humor, and I got to practice trying to add those in. And now I speak for pay as well around with companies and associations, and I get to do that around the world. And I'm constantly testing new material on my Toast. We have a pretty big Toastmaster club. We have to cap it at about 110, and we have a waiting list. And so it's always new people that I get to practice new material on before I go practice it on a paid audience. So just innumerable ways that Toastmasters has helped me. And now one of the ways that I hadn't even thought about it until just thinking about it, some of my very best friends in the world now have come through that Toastmaster club, through Toastmasters. So it's been a really beautiful organization that has brought a lot of life into my existence.
It's not nice, nice. Cap it to 110. There's like a lot of people in your club.
There are, yeah.
So yeah, so no need for booths or no need for advertising.
We do.
Oh,
We we set ourselves up as a meetup group. We have we constantly are updating our website. We we look at where we're positioned in the city, so we're close to the university, close to downtown, where there's a lot of startup ecosystem, startup
wow.
conversation. So we do a lot of things intentionally to because we have the kind of turnover that a lot of clubs do, but it's we do have a core that is there for a number of years, and then we have a lot of people that are coming in to work on something, and so we put that front and center on different ways of advertising. And we have the our vice president of PR is active a lot and typically uses what they do in the club to, as a resume builder for education, for business opportunities. So pretty young club also.
Mhm. That's nice. What is your creative way of crafting speeches?
I have heard a lot of different ways. I think maybe I'm a little different than other world champions. I start with the story. To me, whenever I'm looking to build out. So these days I still like building out Toastmaster speeches. I help now. I coach. It was three, but now I'm trying. I coach about five people for the World Champion of Public Speaking each year, and I don't charge for that. I someone is wanting to make it and they have the compelling message, compelling story, then we kind of talk about it. So I'm typically helping three to five people in their path toward the world championship every year. I'm giving speeches in my club, and then I've got a keynote. I've got a couple of keynote speeches that I do for corporations and industries. My current keynote is called Thriving in Uncertainty, or I've also called it, Thriving in Change, Thriving in Chaos. And it is a keynote that I'm constantly adding on because there's also a 2-day training that goes along with that. If a company hears that and says, "Oh, I want you to come talk to our team about thriving in uncertainty," and so I'm always adding on to that. I'm looking for stories. Here's an example. I was at South by Southwest just a week or so ago, and do you know the music artist Russ, the rap artist? So Russ was giving a panel, and I ducked in there because I didn't have any other panel I was going to go to, and I thought I was going to return a lot of emails. Excuse me.
That's okay.
But I heard Russ's story, and he talked about how he went from just beginning to make music in his friend's parents' basement all the way to being this international sought out superstar, performer, producer, writer. And it was perfect for what I wanted to talk about in my keynote. And so I sit there in the dark and I'm I'm writing his story down and taking pictures of some of the tweets that he had put out whenever he was a teenager. And I wrote a new little part of my keynote. And that's where it begins for me, is if I hear a story that really makes me feel, or it makes me think, makes me laugh really hard, it might make me cry, then I know that's a story. Then I start asking myself a number of questions. Okay, why did that story have the effect in my nervous system that it did? Why did it make me really think or feel or laugh? Because we have our experiences. If we just hear a story that has no meaning, we're not going to have those kinds of reactions to them. And so, like the Russ story, I heard that and it really impacted me. So then I started journaling. I started writing. What was it about the Russ story that impacted me? Well, it impacted me because I had been a teenager like that, but I gave up when Russ did not. And so that landed heavy on me there. And that's the message then, is that here is a guy who he just had blind faith that it was all going to work out. And if it didn't, even if it didn't, he was having so much fun by going and following the path that he did. And that worked. You think about the librarian and Mrs. Montgomery speech. That runs right in line with what I was saying, is the victory is not in the result, it's in the try. And Russ essentially said that very thing at the end of his talk. He came back and he said they were showing video and pictures of him being in his best friend's parents' basement trying to write music. And he looked at that and he said, that was the best time of my life. And he was poor. He hadn't blown up. He hadn't made any charts, but that was the best time of his life is because he was trying new things. He was trying without expecting greatness to come from it. Anyway, so what I do is I look for a story. I listen for stories. I journal a lot. I try to write at least at least 15 minutes every day. And I'll remember stories from my childhood, or I'll remember things that happened yesterday. And I'll write out, and if it impacted me, then I'll start asking, hey, why did that impact me? Why did that make me feel that way? And if I just keep asking why, okay, well, it made me really feel. Well, why did it make me feel? Well, because it was a story about the dad. Well, why did the story about the dad impact me? Just keep asking why. And at some point, it comes to the kernel of truth, the salient point, and that's the message. That becomes the message that the speech is built around. Does that help,
Excellent.
or you want me to spend
Oh
more time
no,
on?
oh no, oh no. This is oh no, that was helpful. You said a lot. Right
Okay.
now if it's tough for people these days to find jobs. If they want to go the same path as you, what are the things they can do right now to practice?
Well, if you're saying if they want to go the same path as me, um, I came out of school with some difficulty finding a job, and so I just started creating jobs.
Uh-huh.
I got a paper route and I started throwing a paper route. There was a time when I washed cars door to door, went door to door with a bucket and sponge saying, um, "Hey, I've noticed that you have some dust on your car. I'm looking to make a few bucks. Could I wash your car for you?" I've sold candy door to door. I've I tried to start a publication. I've tried a lot of things all at the same, well, not all at the same time. I did the paper out at the same time I was beginning to start my financial services business because I didn't have any clients that were going to pay me, at the beginning. So, I would say we just it's difficult and it's a difficult environment. And that can be super hard. And in the difficulty is where we build our tough skin. I watched a documentary last night about the people of Sparta, and they were unbeatable in military action, but part of it was because they consistently made their lives harder than they needed to be so that they would become stronger, tougher individuals, both mentally and physically. We can do that anytime that there have been troubles in my life, and there have been many. We had a daughter that had a stroke at birth. I had um, we almost completely went bankrupt in the Great Recession. There were times whenever we've had physical, mental, financial difficulty. It always made us, and I say us, my family, made us stronger people following. And so to go and go out and look, I've had friends before that were without work, and one friend sat back just kind of waiting on a management position or a certain type of work, and another friend, he said, "Oh, I have a full-time job. My full-time job is finding a full-time job," and he would send out 100 resume letters a week. What is that? Yeah, 20 a day, and follow up on those with phone calls. And he he didn't get the job he wanted very quickly, but he got the job, but the job he got then put him in a position to get the job he wanted apart from everybody else because they could see his track record. So it's the simple answer to your question. It's not an easy one. It's not an easy one because it is difficult, and that difficulty builds resilience. But the simple answer to your question is try and try and try and try and try. And this might be a great time to try to start a business that you think can serve people and also follows your skill set.
Nice. That's nice. In your winning speech, your message was the victory is in the try. How does that still ring true in 2026?
Oh, I'd say very much so, and I would even say more than it ever has, is that the the victories in the try helps us, one, it helps us innovate because I'm a professional investor and I also speak to companies. That's the biggest thing. Companies coming out and say, how do I help my team innovate? And the biggest problem that stands in front of innovation is is someone's afraid to fail. And so they don't go in their companies and try new things because they're afraid they're going to fail. Failure is, oh goodness, failure is a feature of innovation. It's not a bug. You try 100 things and one thing, takes off. But you don't get to that one thing. You very rarely get to that one thing without trying the 100. And and so a lot of companies set up, they're going to promote the person who succeeds, right? But that may not be your most innovative person. It may be the person who fails the most, who tries enough things. That's the one who's really the best to lead the organization at the next level. So, so talking about that, the other thing is that we are in times that have arguably been as uncertain or more uncertain than potentially we've experienced as humans. And you look at the rise and fall of city states, you look at the possibility of changes in structure in governmental structures with around the world, some democracies saying maybe we're not as big a fan of democracy and moving toward something that looks like a different type of model, while at the same time looking at, some democracies moving toward social democracy and what that looks like. And then just the rise, what's AI going to do? Is AI going to take over everything? And so we're just house cats? Oh, and by the way, if that happens, the cats in my house, they have a pretty good life. That might not be the worst thing, but you've got a lot of uncertainty. And so it's much more difficult today to chart a pathway towards success and say, all right, if I just follow these steps, I'm going to get where I want to be. I'm going to be able to achieve success in an environment where uncertainty is the rule, then just trying things works so much better. Works so much simple analogy. If you set up a bottle with a light at one end and you put both flies and bees in the bottle, and then you uncork the bottle, the flies are going to continue to fly toward the light and fly toward the light to the point that they they hit against the glass and they die because they're certain that if they go toward the light, that's the way out. Bees, they just fly around. They're random. And so a random bee will fly the other direction and find that the other end is open and fly out. Pretty soon, all the bees are out of the bottle and all the flies are dead inside the bottle because they just kept flying toward the light. That is an analogy about this current environment, an uncertain environment. In uncertain environments, it becomes a detriment to decide, I know the way to go and I'm just going to keep persisting. That's all we've heard for decades, right? Is just persistence, determination, chart your path, big goals, go toward the goal, manifestation. When the real win may just be trying things, just randomized. And the law of large numbers is that eventually we all get out of the bottle.
Nice. That's nice. It's all it's all about the how, right?
Hmm. The I'd say it's about the try, and it's about trying enough things. More about volume. And if I try this and it doesn't work, then I try here and I try. Just go along the fence line until I find a weakness and then can break through. So I'd say more about the try than even the how.
Got it. Got it. And all right. And okay, Mike, what does the work you do right now mean to you?
Oh goodness. It makes life so wonderful. I I passed the point um, a while back where I have to work, and now I everything I do is really for the purpose of enjoying, hoping to help other people get where they want to go, and and so it means I get to play every day. It means that I get to walk the path with another one of my human family and hopefully help their path be easier and also help them get where they want to go. And that's true in the financial planning world, in the investing world. It's true with investing, even in startups that are trying to change the world and helping people communicate their wonderful ideas. Like you, Nigel. I mean, you have ideas and magic stuck in around your rib cage. They're things that you can do that I cannot do, that no one else in the world can do. And to the degree that I can help someone get their magic out into the world, it improves the world for all of us. So it's just so fun every day. I wrote there's a list of things I read every day, and I put at the top of it about a month or so ago. I just get to play every day now, and that's so true. And it puts a smile on my face every morning when I read that first thing, and and part of that play is I get to help my fellow humans do what they really want to do.
Beautiful. That is really beautiful. All right, that's it for the questions. We're going to quick fire, where you have to answer where we have to answer questions quickly in under 90 seconds. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, here we go. Here we go, Mike. Okay, Mike, one word to describe yourself.
Unimportant.
Whoa. Okay. What is your best public speaking tip?
Don't tell me, tell me in a story.
Oh, best artist you love to listen to.
These days, it's either it's Glacio.
Uh,
Yeah, music artist.
yes, music artists.
Yeah, Glacio.
Glacio. What's about what are his or her best songs?
Oh, I actually don't know the names of them. I saw him at South by Southwest last week, and and it's a band, just a live DJ who sings every song and a live drummer. So I know I just every song I heard I loved, but I don't think I know the names of any of them.
Best place in Texas for a good meal.
For a good meal would be probably Houston, really. Yeah, Houston.
Oh, best place in Texas to go road tripping or travel.
Oh, I'd go to Austin. I'd come to Austin. Yeah. You have hills, you have lakes, you have strange people, interesting experiences, a lot of good live music. Yeah.
And
Barton
South by
Springs.
Southwest you mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. All right. That's it. All right. That's it for the quick fire. Are you ready for for the screenshot?
Oh, so what do we do on the screenshot?
Let's just yeah, let's just simple. Let's just take a, picture from Zoom screenshot. Are you ready?
Ready.
Again, Mike, thank you for coming to the Meetup Spot. Any last thoughts or comments?
No, hey Nigel, I appreciate your inviting me. Yeah, reaching
Thank.
out and inviting me.
Yeah, you're welcome, Mike. Second ever Texas Toastmaster, right, yeah, right here on the Meetup Spot.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I look forward to. And I guess the only other thing I would say is anyone in the audience, hope I get to see you at a conference soon, and we get to give big hugs, and I get to hear your stories.
That's nice, nice. Anywhere we can find you, Mike?
Oh, I do want to. You mind if I hold on real fast? I should have brought
Go
this
ahead, sir.
up before. Are you able? You're probably not able to see my screen, are you?
You can, yeah. I can see you fine, clear.
Can you see my screen though?
Yes. Hold on. What screen? What are you showing me here?
So I've got a QR code.
Oh, you're sharing a screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't seen, yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I hold on real fast.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Yeah. So that would be the easiest place to find me because I run a Substack
Oh,
where I'm beginning to just put out all kinds of coaching and coaching and advice and different storytelling techniques, just all kinds of things. So I typically just call this, yeah, stay in touch with Mike and just join the Substack. And now I'm also on really all social media, and people can find me on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and just everything. But
okay, okay.
Substack is the easiest.
Okay. Thank you. So here we go. Mike Carr's Substack right there.
Yep.
All right. Again, Mike. Thank you for coming to the Meetup Spot.
Hey, one other thing, maybe
Oh yeah.
is
Something
this one
more?
easier?
What's that?
Maybe is
Ah,
that an
there we go.
easier
There we
one?
go. There we go. There we go. It's fine. That's nice.
Okay. And I know you're gonna edit this around, so maybe I thought, well, maybe that's a better picture.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say that's the best place to stay in touch. And I do a lot of teaching. Well, I haven't done as much, but leading up to the Toastmaster International Conference this year and going forward, um, I'm going to be doing a lot of teaching on that Substack.
That's nice. So yeah, again, yeah, there you go again. My car Substack. It's better now. Again, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nigel.